The story we have in front of us today, it's about a national crisis. I mean, a crisis so profound that every great general, every wise council,
Everyone.
the entire standing army just gave up hope. We're talking about a moment when a whole kingdom was facing, well, absolute despair.
That's right. Their king had been defeated, captured, marched away, and the enemy. It wasn't just another army. It was, an army of giants and demons.
So for you listening, our mission today is to cut right to the core of this incredible ancient text. It details the exploits of a champion named Nowzar.
And we're going past just the surface plot, really trying to extract those key moments, those astonishing displays of strength that, they transform a great warrior into a legend.
Okay, so let's set the stage, because to understand Nowzar's courage, you have to understand the darkness he was facing.
Right. It's immense.
This all takes place during the reign of King Nowzar, who's a descendant of the legendary Share. But the enemy, like you said, it was no ordinary border skirmish.
Not even close. This was an existential threat. The source material names them specifically the terrifying divs of Mazandaran.
And what were they like?
Imagine an enemy so monstrous they barely even register as human. The text describes them as these hulking, black-skinned giants
Okay.
with tusks like elephants. And their eyes, they didn't just glow. The text says they literally burned with flame.
So these weren't just invaders, they were a supernatural menace.
Absolutely. Constantly raiding Iran's borders, sowing chaos, dragging captives back to their stronghold in the mountains.
And King Nowzar, he tried to fight back, right? He gathered his forces.
He did, which tells you how serious it was.
Yeah.
But the divs were, well, they were just too numerous, too terrible to defeat in a conventional battle.
Yeah.
Especially on their own turf.
The defeat wasn't just a loss, it was a catastrophe.
The total catastrophe. It shattered the kingdom's psyche. Nowzar was taken prisoner, chained up, and hauled away like a trophy deep into the heart of Mazandaran.
So with the king gone and the army routed, Iran was just paralyzed.
Completely. The remaining champions were directionless, just waiting for the final collapse.
And this is where the story pivots. When the whole system, the army, the government, all of it has failed, one man steps forward. So who is this warrior, Nowzar?
He's not just any fighter. The text presents him as the absolute apex of human potential for that time. He's described as this towering figure of Kayanian blood.
Which means he has a royal lineage.
Exactly. It legitimizes his inherent power. And the source defines him right away by two things, his iron strength and fearless heart. He was already famous, but what he does next, that's what cements him in legend.
He stands before the defeated generals, and everyone is probably expecting him to, I don't know, propose some last-ditch military plan.
Right, a final desperate campaign.
But instead, he issues this declaration that just flies in the face of all military logic. It's just an astonishing vow.
He doesn't ask for an army. He doesn't ask for a new strategy. He just says, I will go alone, no army, no banner, just my hands and my sword.
Think about the weight of that. No banner.
The ancient warfare, the banner was everything. It was the heart of the army, the symbol that rallied the men.
So by discarding it, he's saying, this isn't a war between nations anymore.
Precisely. He's saying this is a battle of personal will. He's stripping the entire challenge down to its most basic elements. One man versus a legion of monsters.
Rejecting thousands of swords for the power of his own two hands.
And the narrative really hammers home this isolation. The source makes a point of saying that absolutely no one, not one person, believed he would come back alive.
So this wasn't a calculated risk.
Not at all. This was seen as a glorious but solitary march into certain death.
And his journey there, it's described as a solitary path through dark forests, deeper and deeper into enemy territory. He's literally walking into the lion's den.
Or the demon's den. And he knows to save the king, he has to first let himself be captured.
Which is exactly what happens. The demon guard sees him.
Right, but not because he was overwhelmed. It was intentional. They drag him before their chieftain.
And this is where we get the full picture of the enemy, the full visceral evil.
The chieftain's name is Arzang Div, and the source just employs maximum descriptive horror here. He's called monstrous and black as night. A creature, it says, taller than any tree in the dungeon hall, with fangs that literally dripped venom.
His laugh?
His laugh sounds like grinding stones.
Oh.
Just imagine that sound echoing off the dungeon walls. It's the sound of hopelessness.
So this terrifying creature, this embodiment of the power that broke Iran's army, how does he react to seeing one man walk into his hall?
With utter contempt. It's not fear. It's just dismissal. He sees another weak little mortal. He scoffs and says, "One mortal dares walk into our land. Chain him with the others."
So he's not even a threat. He's just another piece of furniture for the dungeon.
Exactly. Just throw him in with the defeated King Nowzar.
And this setup, of course, is just the perfect way to show what Nowzar is really made of. They bind him with these incredibly heavy chains.
And this is where we get that specific, memorable detail we have to focus on. They don't just use regular chains, they're iron links. And the text explicitly says they're thick as a man's arm.
A tangible representation of brute force designed to hold a giant.
And this is where his iron strength stops being a metaphor. It becomes a physical fact.
What happens?
He says he flexed once, and the chains. They snapped like dry twigs.
Wow.
That single image iron snapping like wood, it just establishes a whole new threshold of power. The restraints they use on their own kind, on monsters, failed instantly.
Now, Nowzar isn't just strong, he's operating on a completely different level.
He is unstoppable.
And he doesn't try to escape. That break was the signal for the attack, which brings us to the climax, the strangling of the Demon King.
Precisely. He doesn't hesitate for a second. Before the other demons can even process what just happened, he leaps directly onto Arzaeng Div.
And it's interesting, the source focuses on strangulation. He has a sword, but he doesn't use it. Why?
That's such a key point. Discarding the sword, the symbol of, civilized warfare, and using his bare hands. It's a statement.
A sword can break.
A sword can break. But his strength is inherent. He seizes the demon's throat, bare-handed. This is raw, crushing, human will, overpowering, raw, monstrous power.
So Arzaeng, this giant who laughs like grinding stones, is now clawing at him in a panic.
Totally unprepared for it. But the narrative defines Nowzar's grip as unbreakable.
And it gets pretty gruesome from there.
It does. We get that final detail. He squeezes until the demon's eyes bulge, until its roars turn into these helpless gurgles. Arzaeng Div, the great chieftain, the symbol of all that terror, is strangled to death by human hands.
That one act, it has to be the breaking point for the Divs. Their leader, the embodiment of their power, is killed in the most humiliating way possible.
Without a weapon. It's a total psychological victory, and it just unleashes absolute chaos.
Which is the next part of the story, the Storm of Fury.
Right. The other demons charge, howling in rage. But Nowzar is already fighting like a mess. The text says like a storm. An uncontrollable destructive force.
And the source gives us these very specific, very brutal examples of his power. It's not just fighting anymore, it's mythic.
They're designed to be unforgettable, to show a level of force that's almost unimaginable.
Okay, so let's get into them. The first one is with his fist.
Just his fist. He fells one demon with a single blow, and the description is that its skull bursts like a melon.
I mean, that detail is meant to shatter any idea that he's just a strong man.
He's a force of nature. And then there's a really iconic one. He grabs another demon by the leg.
And swings it like a club.
Yes, swings this massive body like a club and shatters 3 more divs with the impact. He's using their own size and power against them.
And a third one he just throws.
Lifts a colossal demon over his head and just hurls it into the abyss around their stronghold. He's literally carving a path of destruction.
Through halls of stone and rivers of fire, his focus is absolute. He's not stopping until he reaches his goal.
Which is the dungeon, where King Nowzar is being held.
And the king, of course, is in chains.
But by now, iron chains are meaningless to Nowzar. The text makes a point to say he breaks the king's chains just as easily as his own, as though they were straw.
The physical rescue mirrors the psychological one. The chains of despair are broken.
And it ends with this ultimate heroic image. He doesn't just light the king out. He lifts the weakened ruler onto his shoulders and carries him out of Mazandaran,
leaving a battlefield of shattered demons behind him.
The survivors just flee in terror. The man who strangled their king is now carrying the salvation of his kingdom literally on his back.
So the reception back home, I imagine it was, well, triumphant.
Triumphant doesn't even begin to cover it. The people roared his name until the mountains echoed. He was the restoration of faith.
And King Nowzar.
He immediately recognizes the debt. He places a special crown on Nowzar's head and declares him, simply, the savior of Iran.
And the impact was permanent. The Divs of Mazandaran
never dared raid the borders again. I mean, how could they? Their champion was strangled. Their ranks were shattered by one man. Nowzar became the greatest champion of his time, period.
There's that great summary from the poet Ferdowsi.
Ah, yes. Ties it all together perfectly. He says Nowzar, with bare hands, broke the demon's pride, strangled Arzaeng and freed the king, and made his own name live forever. It's the ultimate celebration of personal mythic strength.
So when we bring this back to you, listening today, what's the core insight here? The text seems to be pushing one big idea.
It is. The takeaway is that sometimes one brave heart is worth more than 1,000 swords.
Why should you care about this ancient story? About a strangulation in a mythic dungeon?
Because it's a lesson that real courage isn't about the tools you have. It's about the force of will you are. It's about becoming the weapon yourself, proving that your own internal strength can overcome any external restraint.
It's the deepest dive into personal courage you can get. He secured his legend with 3 acts, walking alone into hell.
Shattering iron chains thicker than an arm with one flex.
And then, the most famous part, strangling a demon king with nothing but his bare hands.
And since the source itself encourages us all to find the strength of Nowzar when facing our own darkness, that leaves us with a final thought for you.
Go on.
Well, considering Nowzar's choice to discard his army, his banner, everything, and rely only on himself, what is the single most valuable tool, internal like discipline or external like technology, that you rely on when you face your own darkness?
Does that reliance truly make you stronger?
Or does it just make you better equipped?
Yeah.
And that's the difference, really. That's what turns a warrior into a champion.